So welcome to Fero TV Kenya, whereby today we are privileged to have one of our specialists and special person today in our studio, whereby I will host him so that he can tell us more about agriculture. As I told you yesterday that today we shall have a guest who will come to explain to us more about agriculture and especially crop production. So feel welcome. I'm your host, Felix Kigen, and our guest, I will give him chance so that he can explain to us, he can tell us who is he and where is he coming from and what field is he specialized in. So feel welcome, sir, and you will tell us who are you at this Fero TV Kenya, and I believe that you will have good time together. We shall give or enlighten our farmers on most of the things that pertain agriculture. So feel welcome to tell us who are you and where are you coming from before we continue.
Thank you, Buana Felix,
Yes.
for inviting me to your studio. And I want to feel at home in this forum today.
Yes.
You having invited me a few days ago. First and foremost, my name is Edwin Rotich. I come from this county, the county of Wasingishu. Maybe to say, but in a short way, I will introduce myself as an agriculturalist, and particularly my area of specialization is soil science.
Yes.
So having gone through the studies of agriculture, right from even as early as in primary school, where we were brought up by our parents in the field of agriculture.
Yes.
We got so excited in it. Later on, I decided to do and pursue agriculture, which up to date, it's my excitement.
Yes.
I'm a specialist in soil science, and before I did soil science, I had an introduction in the undergraduate level to deal with issues on both crop production and also animal production.
Oh yes.
So I'm privileged to be here.
Yes.
As I've said, my name is Edwin, and I feel welcome in this studio.
Now, feel welcome. And maybe you have said you are a specialist in soil science. Maybe some of our followers are thinking that because in our poster we said we have a person, one of the lecturers in one of the biggest universities in our country, Kenya. You can tell us shortly about your occupation.
By occupation, I can say I am a teacher.
Yes.
And I lecture most of my time. I do lecture in the university, Moi University.
Yes.
Which is one of the great universities in this country, and they produce the best of students in terms of especially all fields. Agriculture in my university is one of the schools that teach courses on agriculture on a wide range, animal sciences, and they also teach areas of horticulture and extension, education extension. So my field, as I teach science, soil science subjects.
Thank you.
Which involve, when the students graduate, we would like to have them out there to go and practice areas of agriculture of specialization in soil, fertility, which actually train or brings into fore the use of fertilizer and other soil enhancing material to make our soil fertile so that the produce can be realized, a good produce can be realized. So soil fertility is one of the areas that concern productivity.
Yes.
We also have areas dealing with microbial environment of the soil. So we talk about legumes that enhance soil fertility.
Yes.
Through the fixation of nitrogen by microorganisms in the soil. And by doing so, our bigger picture as soil scientists is to ensure that fertilizer use, especially what is really bedeviling the farmers in this country, is too high cost of fertilizer.
Yes, yes.
So our aim is to ensure that if there is any biological method that we can bring into the limelight that can reduce the commercial fertilizers, which is really killing our agriculture.
Yes.
This is the place that we are going to do. And we teach on the use of crops like beans, peas, and other legume crops like algandra, stylosanthes, and so many other that fix nitrogen in the soil.
Yes.
So that is a field also within the agriculture, especially the the main crop production area.
Crop production, yes.
So that is where we do, and that's what we do in most while we teach. While I teach,
yes,
I really enhance that area through the methods that students can be able to employ. So while we do that, we really encourage the practical aspect of it, and we would like to have the farmers adopting this.
Yes.
First and foremost, our students, when they go out there, we expect them to be the best practitioners of what they are being taught.
Right.
Personally, I engage myself in doing that. We also teach on enhancing soil fertility through various methods other than the nitrogen fixation.
Okay.
We also use lime to reduce the acidities of soil, which is one of the areas that most farmers really don't understand.
Yes.
And they have not largely appreciated. Even scholars have not really come to appreciate that the soil pH is one of the key factors that reduces or determines the productivity of crops.
Okay,
Yes.
maybe before we continue, how to a farmer realize that his or a farm pH, soil pH is high or low?
Oh yeah, what is usually done is that soil is picked from the farms.
Yes.
Through a process which we call sampling.
Sampling, yes.
So we get out there, we sample the soil, we take it to the laboratory, and it is processed and measured.
Yes.
Using the appropriate instruments, which will determine and give the pH level of the soil.
Right.
So maybe it would be very important for farmers to understand what really pH is all about. One of the key things about materials, whether edible or not edible, is that they have got some sourness or bitterness.
Yes.
To a level. It can be sour to an extent that it may not even be appropriate or suitable to be eaten. Let us take an example of lime juice.
Yes.
Or lime, or an orange, or a banana. The taste of these fruits vary.
Yes.
What makes the difference of the taste is the sourness of that fruit.
Yes.
That sourness of the juice in that fruit is determined chemically.
Yes.
And you can measure. So the pH of a soil or the pH of any material can be from 1 up to 14.
Oh yes.
So our soils also have a pH which is determined between 1 and 14.
Yes.
The best pH that most of the field crops perform well is the pH 7.
7.
The middle. At the 7. Most of the field crops that we grow in this country can perform well from pH 6 up to 7.
Up to 7.
6.5 to 7 is the best.
So
anything below that, below 6, some of the crops may not do well, even if you are using a lot of fertilizer. It's because you have not really taken care of the sourness of the soundness of the soil.
Yes.
So we really need to appreciate that. That is one of the upcoming concerns when it comes to crop production.
Right. What about if our farmers are using organic, the issue of organic and inorganic fertilizers? Is there any improvement from acidity to basic or to neutral when you use organic fertilizers?
Okay, that's a very good question.
Yes.
When we talk about organic material,
yes,
organic material is a very good enhancer of many aspects about the soil.
Yes.
Apart from the physical aspect of soil, it can also help to control the chemical aspect of the soil. When I say physical aspect of the soil, you realize that some soils may not be very easy to handle, maybe because they are too hard, they are too hard to be even plowed or to be tilled.
Yes.
Some of them maybe during dry season like this, they crack. Some of them may not be able to take in water. Maybe it is because it has become compacted.
Yes.
So one of the physical aspects that organic matter material do is to bring to condition of the soil into what we call friable, so that when you plow, it is easy to till, and when the crops grow, they can easily spread the roots very easily.
Yes.
The nutrients can easily be distributed, and so on. That is the physical impact that organic matter can bring. So when we are talking about organic material, we are talking about how it can enhance the soil in terms of the physical aspect and also chemically.
Yes.
When we say chemical, we mean that issue of pH.
Yes.
It can easily be controlled when we use the organic material.
Organic material.
Because it has got something we call a buffering capacity. It can be able to stop the soil from changing very quickly into pH maybe 7 going back to around 4 quickly, even in spite of what we do as farmers. The most important thing that we need to appreciate is that after so many years of using inorganic material, these fertilizers that we buy from the shops, most of them have caused our soils to be acidic. We say they are said to be acid-causing fertilizers, including the ones we top dress with, like urea, and using a lot of DAP. Over the years, the soils have become acidic because of the use of that. So when we use organic matter, we are saying we make that soil to be able to sustain even an induced pH condition of that soil, so that the pH will not change rapidly from high pH to low pH. So low pH is one of the main and the key detriments of our fertility, of our soil fertilities. Throughout not only Kenya, even throughout the world. So we currently talk about controlling the pH. And when we say controlling the pH, how do you control the pH? We enhance or we encourage farmers to use organic matter. Refuse that come from the kitchen, animal dung that is collected from the animal stalls, sheep, goats. We even use the waste materials from pigs. We collect it, and it forms part of it. But one thing is that we need to make it ripen. We need to store it so that it decomposes well. By the time we are taking it to the farm, it is well decomposed. So you don't take directly to the farm? It's not advisable to take it directly to the farm. Because that time decomposition and the changing from that raw material to become humus has not taken place. So it would rather be changed by many processes. You may keep it by composting,
Yes.
or storing it in an appropriate place until it becomes humus.
Yes.
So before it becomes humus, it is still a raw material that can easily cause a negative effect again on that soil.
Oh, yes. Maybe to add on top, what are some of the effects of using inorganic fertilizers for a long time? Is there any effect that the plants or the crops production will cause to a human being?
I wouldn't say there is any negative, direct negative effect on transfer from the organic material through the plant to the human
Being, yes.
You know, the plant is in itself, it's a system.
Yes.
And it is a factory. It cannot easily, it cannot take a material that it can easily transfer unless we have contaminants in that organic matter. If we have other contaminants that can easily be transmitted into, like, after a lot of research, some of the chemicals have been known to have what we call residual effect.
Yes.
In the plant, in the seed, or in the tubers, or in the stem. So organic matter, which is clean without any chemicals in it, has no negative effect. In any case, it enhances the yield of the crop, and we cannot say it has any negative effect in human beings.
Oh, yes. Yes. Most of the people, or most of the farmers, are saying that, especially when you narrow down to vegetables, they normally say you don't use inorganic fertilizers and excess chemicals because you will consume it directly. I don't know if it's applicable or...
Chemicals, yes. If we don't use chemicals well, in a manner that is designed, it can easily be transferred to the human food.
Yes.
Yeah. For example, if you are dealing with leaf crops like kales, mawiki, and without due diligence, spraying them and allowing time for that as given by the prescription, you are likely to take the chemicals directly to the kitchen.
Yes.
Because there will be a residual effect on the leaf. But chemicals have been formulated in such a manner that there is a period of time in which you will allow, so that the chemical spray that you used will deteriorate for a given period of time. Some of them you are advised not to use after 2 weeks. Some of them is beyond 2 weeks.
Yes.
It's because the chemical is allowed in that period you are given not to, you are warned not to use. You allow time for that material to disintegrate.
Yes.
So that it doesn't become effective finally when you go and eat the food. So I'm very sure that most of the farmers, because of the desire to sell their produce quickly,
yes,
we eat a lot of chemicals from the market, because you really don't have the capacity to know whether this crop was sprayed yesterday or it was sprayed 3 weeks ago. So we just end up, who will measure? Very much depleted of nutrients, and we teach them on how to grow other crops, how to make the soil and grow other crops. We even teach them to leave the maize because it no longer grows well in those areas.
Yes.
And we allow them to choose a crop. And most of the crops that are grown also there include the ones which we refer to as orphan crops. So we advise them that instead of struggling with maize, continue with this crop called sorghum, continue with millet, continue with cassava, you can plant groundnuts, soybeans, and as we encourage that way, we are actually encouraging security of food, because in those parts of the country,
Yes.
The population is high.
Yes.
The environment is hostile. The rains are not consistent, and therefore there are many ways in which we can encourage farmers to do, also depending on the locality
Yes.
of where the farmers come from.
Thank you. Maybe in conclusion, last remarks, and maybe those who are following us may think of how do they reach to you in case they want to ask more about agriculture, because this time was short, and I believe you had many things to exhaust, but because of the time, you can tell us in your last remarks and say how our farmers can reach you before we end.
As I've introduced myself, I reside in this county.
Yes.
And in case you need some assistance on soil matters and crop production, I would advise you, let me give you my contact.
Yes.
My number is 0722 694080. I'll be glad to advise on what you need to do. And especially one thing that farmers should start appreciating is that our soils must be tested.
Yes.
We must know the conditions of our soil so that you know whether it is acidic or alkaline.
Yes.
And in no way is it going to be alkaline unless we come from the arid areas.
Oh, yes.
The dry areas like Garissa, Marsabit, all those arid areas, the soils are said to be alkaline. The pH is above 7.
Above 7,
But
yes.
most of the soils that we have in these rainy areas, the North Rift, the South Rift, and most of the parts of our country where rain is there almost throughout the year or twice in the year, the soils are acidic.
Yes.
So I advise the farmers that we desire to measure and to take the soil pH, get the samples of the soil. So reach me through that number. We will get your soil, and we will collaborate with the University of Eldoret,
Yes.
where most of our soils pHs are measured, and you will get the condition of your soil. We will advise you
Yes.
on how much lime you need to apply. We will also advise you on how much fertilizer, especially DAP and the dressing material, urea and CN, how much you desire to use so that you get your produce without going at a loss.
Yes.
Let us treat agriculture as a business.
Yes.
Yes, let's
Yes.
treat agriculture as a business so that whatever you put in there, you are sure you're going to come out with a commensurate yield
Yes.
from your soil.
Thank you.
Otherwise, thank you very much, Felix,
Yes.
for hosting me here.
Yes.
Though short notice, but I know next time we shall have enough time with you,
All right.
and we are going to expound more on what really farmers decide to do,
Oh, yes.
and also the government.
Yes.
We will be on the neck of the government.
Yes.
Because farmers are relying on them. This is our country.
Yes.
And we must eat our cake from our own country.
Exactly. So thank you for coming to our station, that is Fero TV Kenya, and I appreciate your coming, and also I believe next time when we get time and our farmers need more clarification, I believe that you will be free to come and share with our farmers, and
Sure.
I believe that you will not remain the same.
Yeah, sure.
For anyone who needs to be enlightened on agriculture, he has said that let us make agriculture a business. So if you want to make your agriculture a business, contact him, be free, and he will teach you many things about agriculture. And I believe we are here for you. We are there to enlighten you. We are there to teach you on methods and how to produce high yields in our farmers. So I believe when you are going out there, just feel free to come again to our station. Let us communicate in any issue that is arising. I will be free to call you, and I believe that one time you will be welcomed again in our station. So feel
Thank you
welcome,
very much.
and thank you for coming.
Thank
This
you
is
very
Fero
much.
TV Kenya, and I'm your host Felix Kigen. So Phil, thank you, and I believe may God bless you as you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.